we're done with everything in this workshop because everything mapped correctly, liked how it looked. So we can can all that. Next thing to do is go to layer 2, select everything. I'm still in solo mode here. There we go. And just take a look at the wireframe to see what we're bringing over. Okay, and I know that some of these are going to have to be solidified, and some of the all of the rubbers will have to be turned into meshes. So we're going to duplicate this. We're going to move it to our workshop. And let's take a look at everything. That needs to be converted. Make sure there's no modifier on it. Convert those to mesh. Convert those to mesh. Solidify.
Solidify. Solidify. Solidify.
Okay, another look just to see if anything's overlapping. Nothing stands out. So we're going to project from view. That should give us everything. Looks really good. And then there are just a couple spots where we need to keep things separate. So, but these are all mapped, so we can pull them separately and it's no problem. So, and we can do this from any angle now because it's mapped from the camera angle. So what do we know? We know that the star rollovers are separate, the wires are separate, and anything else that we think we might need to animate. Yeah, I still have not completely decided what to do with. Oh, I gotta separate these. I still have not completely decided what to do with this. Because it can't rotate here because it's connected to the bracket. I might have to split it right there and rotate it just right at this point. And I don't know, maybe just animate it to the gate. Anyway, going back. Let's just take all the things I do want. Okay, so all of that, so all of that, we can just make sure there's no doubles. There were plenty. Triangulate and then reduce to quads. So then we can export that as layer 2, delete it, and then this just has to go up and down Z, and so I'm not worried about having to center it at 0, moving it along its own origin. It just has to go up and down, so that's no problem. So we have that. And this, this is tedious. It'd be nice if there was like a bulk import or something in Visual Pinball. I don't know. Okay. And then to animate these, I would have to separate out the mesh here too, the collidable mesh, and I can do that. That's no problem. So I'm just going to make 2 loop cuts there, 2 loop cuts there, and then break these apart. So we just want to grab these. And you know what? I'm going to duplicate this so I have a reference for how far I've pulled this. It's called onion skinning in animation, right? So, very subtle. I mean, rubbers don't go wild when they're hit, but just a little bit of movement just kind of gives a little bit of extra life to the game. It's a nice touch when you barely notice it. And these get handled the same way, but it would be really valuable to be able to see the play field here. Okay, so real quick overview. I just brought in, our left and right sling meshes, and just did this. Typically, you can actually leave the script the same, give them the same name as you would have done the rubbers, and so that's real easy. And then I did the same up here, and we'll just animate those in the script when the ball hits these. I animated this one a little bit more because it's closer to the rubber, higher impact. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. If it doesn't look good, you turn it off. And then what I did is everything that was coming from that layer 2 collection, so it's wires and it's not drops, that's from a different game. But all of these go into a collection called layer 2 collection. That way, right now they're all using the off image, and in the script, when the game turns on, or if it's a game that has a GI state change, you can control it from the script and do it with just a single call to change the textures for everything in that collection. That's a good time saver. You don't have to script every single one of these in. So now I've got this flap that needs to move, and really need this piece here to stay in place. So I'm going to bring them both pieces together first, get it placed, and then once it's placed, we can break it apart and bring it in sections. So now we have the texture for layer 2 done with the GI on and the GI off. It's been several years now since I first considered building this game. I probably considered building this back in 2016 or 2017. So this has been like a long time project I've wanted to do. And the most pervasive question that I've asked myself on this project over and over again was, how am I going to get the lights to reflect properly up in this metal area? Because that's like a key part of the game is those loop lights. And the honest to God answer is I still have no idea. There are a bunch of things you can do. I could cut out chunks of this mesh, render a version where all these lights are on, and then just have that layer of mesh show up. Still might do that. You could add flashers, which would be very imprecise, but that's an option. You could ignore it and just let screen space, or you could give this a slightly transparent texture and let light transmit a little bit and just kind of give some glow up here. I don't know. We'll see where we end up. But either way, there just isn't a perfect solution for that kind of thing yet. Someday we'll be using, I don't know what we'll be using, Unity Engine or something that can give us those things without this kind of, I'll just call it a complete waste of our time someday. So can you tell I'm burnt out on building tables this way? I'm honestly, I think this is probably one of my last for a little while. What you should see is a game that looks, relatively complete without the plastics on top, plus some odds and ends from the previous game that I built this on top of. But overall good, and you can see where these are showing through. And I think I can fix that without much effort. But, it looks nice. I mean, structurally, a lot of the things that are going to be required to play this game are there visually as well. And so that's a cool thing. Okay, next up will be layer 3. I'll kind of solve this offline and see if maybe I can script in this thing and make sure that it's working the way we want. So thanks for joining me, and we'll talk soon.